Hi, my name is Elizabeth Cansdale, and my project is the viral landscape of Apis mellifera during the novel invasion of Varroa destructor. My supervisor is Dr. Emily Remnant. So, the flow of the presentation will go as such: my introduction, being Apis mellifera and the agricultural industry, Varroa destructor as a global threat, my research direction and aims, and my research plan and timeline. Apis mellifera, otherwise known as the Western or European honeybee, is an absolutely vital aspect of the Australian and global agricultural industry. This includes both managed and feral bee colonies. For instance, pollination services provided by managed and feral bees are estimated to be worth around $14.5 billion to our economy. Additionally, paid pollination services, beeswax production, packaged bee sales, and honey production, as of 2021, had an estimated value of around $224 million. And this is where we stand. There has been a decades long global trend of elevated colony losses across, but not limited to, Europe, the Middle East, Japan, and North America. Australia, for the most part, and we'll go into this later, has been sitting quite pretty. Now, the cause of colony collapse is often multifaceted, from extreme weather events, increased pesticide use, and of course, pathogens. One such pathogen of global concern is the aptly named Varroa destructor. Many apiarists and scientists consider this to be the greatest biotic threat to honeybee health. And here she is. We have a brilliant example of a female Varroa mite in all her glory. And where does it leave Australia? Unfortunately, Australia was one of the lucky few left to not have to suffer the incursion of Varroa, but as of 2022, Varroa was discovered or detected in New South Wales, in Newcastle. And although valiant efforts were made to eradicate the mite, it was declared endemic in 2023. So, what are we dealing with? Varroa destructor is an ectoparasite which feeds off the fat stores of adult and juvenile honeybees. So, this causes both morphological damage and deformity, and overall puts a lot of stress on the hives. Now, you can see these two images here. One, an example of an invaded brood cell. In that brood cell, the pupae has succumbed to the stress of the mite incursion. We also have a photo of an adult bee with an adult mite attached. That is the point where they feed off the fat stores of the bee. And I think most importantly, the most concerning aspect of Varroa is that it acts as a viral vector, surpassing the usual route of transmission. It leads to more prevalent symptomatic disease, which then often precipitates colony health decline and, in some instances, death. Deformed wing virus and acute paralysis virus are known to be directly transferred by Varroa. Several other viruses of significance are associated with Varroa, and those are sac-brood virus, black queen cell virus, as well as Lake Sinai virus. We have two examples here. Black queen cell virus, a nice cross-section of a hive, which we have the queen brood cells that appear to be necrotizing due to the dead queens inside, obviously indicated by the name. Black queen cell. We also have an example of a recently emergent honeybee with deformed wings. Now, we have here an example of a deformed, recently emergent honeybee. And when Varroa enters a new population, it's been observed to increase the viral load and prevalence. It has also, overall, had a significant effect on the prevalence, viral load, strain diversity of deformed wing virus. And this has been observed in previous novel invasions, such as Hawaii and New Zealand. Where does that leave us? I think that Australia is now in a unique and ultimately volatile situation with Varroa. It's slowly radiated across the east coast of New South Wales. I think the volatility arising from the unknown implications of the outbreak and the unique stemming from the opportunity to understand how Varroa may influence the viral landscape of our local honeybees. Conveniently enough, a metagenomic analysis was conducted in 2017 prior to the outbreak of Varroa destructor, and that was able to confirm the absence of deformed wing virus from Australian honeybee colonies. A current understanding of the viral landscape in Australia, I think, is needed to develop adequate disease mitigation and control strategies. So this leads me to my research plan and my aims. In this project, I will aim to gain a greater understanding of the novel invasion of Varroa destructor through the analysis of the viruses present in our honeybee colonies across Sydney and the Greater Sydney region. This will be conducted through the quantification and analysis of viral RNA present in hive samples. So I've divided the research into 3 sections: community outreach and professional outreach, fieldwork and lab analysis. The outreach section looks like going to local meetings, amateur bee meetings in these areas, and also utilizing lab connections to try and find people who are willing to donate their time and resources in the way of hives. Not hives, specifically bees. The fieldwork will entail collecting samples from these hives, which will be later ground up and used for laboratory analysis. Now, this map is a snapshot of the management zones currently designated by the Department of Primary Industries in New South Wales. Titled Transition to Management, the green map overlay indicates the management zone and the orange designates the suppression zone. Simply, the orange zone is the area, the polygon of that are the areas in which New South Wales we've been identified that have the greater amount of Varroa mites present in those hives. So what we're looking to capture in the sampling, denoted by the sampling points denoted by these red stars, is we're hoping to capture a true representation of the viral spread and distribution as best we can within the resources, with the limited resources that we have and the time that I have available to do such a job. Now, in the third aspect, obviously, as stated, we have the laboratory analysis. Now, this, in short, will entail quantitative PCR to analyse the samples that we've collected from the hives from those regions. And we will be targeting specific, we're using primers to target specific viruses that are known to cause issues and have been flagged in previous studies, such as black queen cell virus and the deformed wing virus. The timeline that we'll be dealing with, we've started straight off the bat in March and have already started sampling and looking. This is essentially what we'll be looking at from now until the end of the year. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed my presentation, and I'll leave you with a nice photo of me at one of my sampling locations in Western Sydney, and the references as well. Have a lovely evening or morning.